What's going on, everyone? This is Austin from Calling Our Shot. Week 8 in the NFL is here, and my best bets are on the way. We got 2 spreads, 2 over-unders, 2 player props, and a teaser. Now, over the past couple weeks, I'll put the record up on the screen. We've been kind of treading water, going 500, but I think this week we're going to get back in business, making some money. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our NFL best bets videos. And, of course, we have daily NBA best bets videos. You guys have been showing a ton of love on those ones, so I appreciate you guys. Make sure you click that like button. And we're closing in on 12,000 subscribers. Can we hit that this weekend? Who says no? Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Let's get started. I'm taking my New York Jets, taking their team total, taking their under 15.5 points, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, the New York Jets have yet to score a point in the first quarter. So if you have a team total under in the first quarter, that's probably a good bet. And Zach Wilson's injured. So now we're starting Mike White, a fifth round draft pick in 2018 out of Western Kentucky. He's our new quarterback. They just traded for Joe Flacco. The Jets offense is terrible. As a fan that has watched them, sadly, they can't do anything right. Now Michael Carter finally got going a little bit last week, but still, this Bengals defense has looked pretty good this season, and now they're coming off a big win versus that Ravens team. Now, I will admit, Bengals are in a letdown spot here, but I still don't have much faith in the Jets to score over 15.5 points. That's asking for a lot. I just don't think they're going to be able to sustain drives, move the ball on third down, and so I'm taking their team total under, which is cashed in 4 of 6 games this season. The Bengals should be able to run the ball. They like to run it. And then they'll be able to run the ball and have their way with the Jets defense. So take this team total under with confidence. My bold prediction on the podcast, which if you haven't checked it out, we post it every Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time, was that the New York Jets would not score this weekend. So we'll see if that goes. They've done that once. They've been shut out against the Broncos. They can do it again here. Moving on to another over-under, Washington football team versus the Denver Broncos. I'm taking the under 44.5 points. Minus 114 on FanDuel. Now, here are 2 offenses struggling mightily. Taylor Heineke, a lot of people loved him. Looked good in the playoffs last year versus the Bucs, obviously losing that game. And then started out the season, he placed Ryan Fitzpatrick. Played pretty well against the Giants on a Thursday Night Football, but since then he's been struggling, and he's only scored 13 and 10 points the past 2 games. Denver not doing much better. They can't move the ball and score points either. And the Washington defense, while has been bad numerically, They're playing a little bit better. They sacked Aaron Rodgers 3 times last weekend, stopped the run game. Their leading rusher, I think it was Aaron Jones, with like 19 rush yards. And you look at it, Washington football team, they have they're not a great secondary, but the Broncos, on the other hand, have a great secondary themselves. They're currently giving up the 5th fewest yards in the NFL, the 4th fewest points. This line's inflated because Washington currently has the 32nd ranked defense. They're giving up the most points in the NFL, but I don't have much faith in Teddy Bridgewater to light it up, and I don't have much faith in Taylor Heineke to go put up points, so I'm taking the under 44.5 points, and if I inspire a shootout, then so be it. Now, moving on to some spreads, I'm taking the Patriots, +6 versus the Chargers. Now, if you watched our weekly podcast, like I already talked about earlier, I picked the Patriots as my upset pick. We always do our NFL week 8 or week whatever it is. We'll pick our upset pick for that week. And I picked the Patriots. They're getting 6 points, and I think they have a chance to win this game outright. They're in SoFi Stadium, traveling to the Chargers, who were on a bye last week. Patriots have played tough this season, and their 3-4 record might not look the best, but they've only lost 1 game by 6 or more points. Obviously lost by 6 points on the dot to the Cowboys in overtime, and then lost another one by more than 6 to the Saints. But the Chargers coming off a bye, and they really needed it because they got spanked by the Baltimore Ravens 34-6 in their last matchup. These 2 teams played last year as well. Patriots, let me check. They won by 45. They won 45-0, shutting down Justin Herbert. Now, obviously, new coach and new scheme for the Chargers offense, but Bill Belichick, one of the best in the NFL at coming up with a defensive scheme, and he obviously did it once against the Justin Herbert and the Chargers. What's to say he can't do it again? You saw them do it to Dak Prescott, Tom Brady. They obviously lost both of those games, but lost them pretty close. So I like this game. I think this is too many points to give to a Patriots team, even though they're on the road. They'll establish the run. This feels like more of a field goal game. So I'm taking it. Now, my next spread, Steelers, +3.5, taking on the Browns. They're at Cleveland. Now, the Steelers, and more specifically, Big Ben, has absolutely owned the Browns all of his career. If he did the same Aaron Rodgers, I own you kind of thing this weekend, I wouldn't be surprised because he's in his 27 career matchups. He's 24-2-1. Yes, they tied 1 game. Now, obviously, the Browns, they played better the past few years. Now, if you were talking about the Browns 5, 6, 10 years ago, you'd be like, yeah, of course, Big Ben's going to dominate this team. But yeah, the Browns have been a little bit better, but you look at it, they're probably starting Case Keenum again this week, who looked decent on Thursday Night Football against the Broncos, and I do expect Baker Mayfield to be out again, but this Steelers defense is still pretty capable of stopping the run, and you looked at the Broncos last week, they couldn't stop the run. They let Dearness Johnson run all over them, but I think the Steelers defense will be able to load the box. They have a decent linebacking crew. Obviously, you got TJ Watt, stuff some things. They got enough playmakers on defense, and they have enough playmakers on offense to keep up with this Browns team that I don't envision scoring 30 points right out of the gate. If you look at it, I think you got Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, and a bunch of other guys that I think can get it done. So I'll run with the Steelers, the underdogs, plus 3.5. Hopefully they lose by 3 or even win the game outright. Now let's get on to a teaser before we got 2 more player props. We're talking about teaser, Bills -7 and the Bengals -4. This is -130. Now let's talk about the Bills first. Now they're taking on the Dolphins. They're at home, and last time they played the Dolphins, it was earlier this year, and they won 35-0. It was an absolute spanking. Now Jacoby Brissett was the starting QB for the Dolphins this week. They should have Tua Tagovailoa unless he gets traded between now and Sunday, but. So I think they'll be better this game, but still, it's the Bills. They're coming off a frustrating loss over the week before their bye. They were on bye last week to the Titans. They've covered this -7 in 5 of their last 6 matchups versus Miami, including 3 straight at home, which is, like I said, they're in Buffalo this weekend. I think they should be able to win by at least a touchdown. Will they cover the 13.5, 14 points they're getting? I don't really know. Oh, by the way, this is a 6.5 point teaser as well. I don't know if they'll cover that 13.5, 14 points, but I'll still take it. Now, Bengals -4. You already heard me talk about my New York Jets. I mean, I don't think they can score all that many points, but you're asking for 4 points, and I don't think that's too bad. Now, if you look at it, I believe I gave this stat on the podcast as well. Every single team that has been a 7.5 point favorite has won this year. They're 23-0, and not against the spread, because obviously that's pretty unrealistic, but they're 23-0 straight up. So if you want to parlay some big teams that are big overs, then big favorites, feel free to do so. Maybe one of them loses this week just because I brought up that stat. But the Bengals, they're playing pretty good, playing the best football they have been in recent years, and they're playing the New York Jets. And so I think if you're betting the Jets, one, I don't know how you have confidence in it, and 2, you're just trying to be a contrarian. And I'm not going to do that, not going to sit on my couch on Sunday night or Sunday and just be like, yay, I'm rooting for the Jets. Nope. Won't be me. If that's you, then go for it, but I'm not doing it. I'll take the Bengals -4. Should be able to win by probably a touchdown, maybe even 2, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touchdowns. It's basically what the Patriots did last weekend. Now let's move on into some player props. I got 2 of them, 2 running backs. Derrick Henry, I'm taking his over 106.5 rushing yards, -115 on DraftKings. All hail, King Henry. He's been an absolute stud this season. If you want a good Halloween costume, because this game will be played on Halloween, then dress up as the King Henry. Now, King Henry's gone over this line in 5 of 7 games. The last time he didn't go over it, last week. He didn't go over it in week 1 against the Cardinals. Well, then he rattled off 5 straight games that he went over. Easily went over this line. And then the other time, he didn't go over it last week. He had 29 carries, I think only like 89 yards. If you give me Derrick Henry with 29 carries, I'll take the over every single day. Now, they're taking on the Colts, who's been decent, but they just gave up over 100 yards to Elijah Mitchell in that crazy rain game. And if you look at his last 4 matchups versus the Indianapolis Colts, he's gone over this line in 3 of 4. His only miss was 103 yards, so I'm not too worried about it. The Titans should be looking to get their big man, the big running back. They should be looking to get him the ball, feed the man on the road. And it's a pivotal divisional game. Colts are kind of on a hot streak right now. Titans obviously need this win. So I'll take King Henry over 106.5 rushing yards. My final one, like I said, another running back, Dalvin Cook over 79.5 rushing yards. Obviously taking on the Cowboys. Now they're at home. They're coming off a bye week, taking on the Cowboys. Sunday Night Football. It's going to be a big game. Now you look at it, teams' game plans versus the Cowboys. It shouldn't be, hey, we want to get into a shootout with them, because they got Dak Prescott, got obviously Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard, Dalton Schultz. They got a lot of offensive firepower. You don't really want to get into a shootout with them. Now, the Vikings do have firepower. They still got Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and they still got Dalvin Cook, who he's been on a pretty good. Let me take a step back. He hasn't necessarily played the best this season. He's only really played in 4 games. He's at the over in 2 of them. And last game, if you look at it, he had 140 plus rushing yards. Now, you look at teams against the Cowboys like 2 weeks ago before they went on bye. Damian Harris, 101 yards rushing on them. Dalvin Cook, like I said, gone over in 2 of 4 games this season. One of them he was injured, so not necessarily going to count that one against him too much. In his 2 career matchups versus Dallas, he's gone over in each of them. They've played each of the last 2 seasons, so they're playing again this year. 97 and 115 rushing yards in the 2 matchups. He's their workhorse back. Coming off a bye, should be fully healthy. Should be trying to get him a big workload, 17 to 25 touches, not outside of the realm of possibility. That'll wrap it up. Catch you guys in the NBA videos. The Week 8 Parlays video will be live Saturday night. I'll see you guys then. Peace.